Welcome to the bright side of the moon, a journey of magic and wonder, and most of all, beauty.
Chapter 18 Animals in Flight, December 1976. It was early December, and the scheduled photography for the Animals album cover was to take place at Battersea Power Station in London. The idea was to suspend a large inflatable pig called Algae, or Algae, depends on your particular country, how you pronounce these things. But anyway, it was to be suspended between the four chimney stacks. Algae was 30 feet long, full of helium, and the plan was to tether her within the middle of the antiquated building. For extra safety, there was a trained marksman on standby in the event she broke loose. Apparently, Roger's daily drive to Britannia Row in Islington inspired the idea. He lived across the river just off Clapham Common, and the station was a daily vision along the way. The image of the pig was born from a book, Animal Farm, by George Orwell, as was the concept for the whole album. Storm Thorgerson of Hickaminosis worked together with Roger to design and execute his vision, which the rest of the band accepted. The day arrived, and we all gathered at the station to observe the photographing of the cover. However, the weather proved to be a bit inclement, so postponement of the shoot became evident. In addition, the cables were also not secure enough to make it viable. Again, the next day we arrived, and despite the weather being a bit calmer, disaster happened. Algae broke loose. The cable snapped, and there was no marksman in sight. She shot up in the air, loss reported, heading for the English Channel. It made the news with wonderful caricatures in the morning papers of two airline pilots looking out of the plane window, freaked to see a pig flying next to them. Was it a hallucination? They hadn't been drinking. Oh dear, it's a flying pig. There was great concern that Algae would cause an accident in the air, but unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, she descended on her own accord. Thank God, for the winds had diverted her flight plan. The farmer whose field she came to rest in remained perplexed. There amongst the trees she hovered, bouncing gently before his eyes. He went back inside and made the phone call to the local police. "Hello, has anyone reported a missing 30-foot-long pig, have you?" And the reply was, "Are you sure you ain't had a pint, have you? You sure it ain't a figment of your imagination?" "No, There really is a giant inflatable pig bouncing around the field. I ain't joking. Has no one reported a missing pig? Word got back to the Floyd, who then sent Robbie Williams and a few of the stage crew to the rescue. Their mission was to retrieve Algae safely. The famed mishap is amongst many fables in the Pink Floyd history books. Thenceforth, she and a few cousins became a regular feature in the Animal in the Flesh stores. I even remember that during the Animals tour in the United States, one could find an isolated roadie backstage painting little baby ones. The idea would be to release them from Algae's behind over the audience. However, that never happened, or at least not to my knowledge. The Algae adventure brought back a few memories. If you remember, Steve O'Rourke, manager, gave us Blue the peacock, and the neighborhood all became one with chasing down the road for Blue. But that wasn't the only one. Putty and I had returned from London. It was dark, and we had gone to Biba, and we bought the latest wellies in sparkly gold and sparkly silver. So we got out of the car in the dim light, sparkling, to find a cow looking us in the face. They're big when you're face to face with them in the dark. And we were like, oh my God, how do we get them back to the field next door? So last scene, waving our coats and our glittery boots around the garden. And finally he sort of gets into the front of the garden, and we're chasing him down to the opening in the hedge, hoping. And here it is, I think 5:00, and it was traffic. And we had a 5-bar gate and a little distance and the street, and all the cars are going by. The lights were shining, going down and down. The last thing we needed was to have a cow jump over the 5-bar gate. And there he was, with us chasing him, saying, whoa, great, he'll just stop there, then we'll open the gate and he can go to the field next door where he came from. But no, he jumped over the gate, landed straight there before the traffic, thank God. And he just turned to the right and sashayed down and went back to his field, which fortunately his gate was open, which is probably how he got to me, but I have no idea. But it's certainly one of our animal stories, and so many more to come in our lives. There's Billy the goat as well, and Vim the Shire horse, but a lot more of other things as we changed houses and had animals, and life went on, and then there was children. So tune in for the next episode. See you soon.